Siphinde sinamkele nisahleli nathi apha SABC Kids News. Sisekwindaba ke ezimnandi umnumzana uMaano Ramadwa waziwa ngezihloko ezininzi ezinhle kwaye akanalo loyiko lokujonga emva ebuntwaneni bakhe obunzima kwaye athethe ngokukhululekileyo ngabo ukukhuthaza abanye abasisigidi. Elakhe ke ibali lomuntu owalwa indlela yakhe esuka enzulwini yentlupheko esebenza ke ehokweni. Ngoku ke ungumfundisi ntsapho odumileyo okhuthaza abantu abatsha ngamava akhe obomi. Good morning, Coach. Welcome to Kids News.
Good morning. Thanks very much for having me here.
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, you have so many titles. You are an educator, author, leadership, and a life coach. Can you give us a brief background on your story which led to so many titles?
Well, at the bottom line of it, I'm a teacher. I teach through my books. I teach through my speaking engagement. I speak through a number of platforms and various platforms that are created. But it started some years ago when I was just young and I made mistakes of life which anybody else could make, to a point where I ended up leaving school, having failed matric twice. And I left school and trying to get where one can actually make life. I found myself in Hekpoort, just on the west side of Gauteng, and that's where the pig story started. And I worked there for a couple of months until that time when I decided, no, this is not the place for me. I have to go.
Powerful. I mean, through it all, you are still standing. And what have you found to be some of the most important things that children can do as the year begins?
You know, I always teach this through my audio called Take Charge. Create a positive environment around you. You know, you are one of those. You know, on the walls of your house, of your room, we always found those nice pictures of either it's one of those celebrities that you aspire to and all that. But we just need to change that. Create that environment by putting things that inspire you. If you are an animal lover, put animals there because they get you into that mood where you can be as creative as possible. So many things that they can do to create that environment. The second thing is they need to understand that they have to have the breakdown of tasks every day. So if someone has to write a test, that test has to start from somewhere else, reading a piece of chapter or something like that. But they need to understand that every single day, there must be something done. You can't just achieve anything without doing anything.
True that. And I mean, like you mentioned earlier, you've also experienced, failure in school. And, many learners, they struggle to accept failure. What are some of the words that you would encourage them?
The key issue is that part, accept. Because the longer you dwell into the failure mode, the longer it will take you to sort of recover. But what I want them to understand is that these things happen every time. Sometimes when you fail, it's simply to say, you did not do enough. And they must just keep on repeating and repeating. This is what we do even in the class. We teach every day the same thing. We repeat. So for them to be able to get to where they need to do, where they need to go, they need to find an opportunity for them to repeat that which they failed.
And setting a goal is probably the easier part. I mean, what are some of the skills that learners need to obtain to make sure that they will have a successful academic year?
You see, when you talk about goals, goals are long-term. Now, when we go long-term, in 5 years' time, I want to be this. But what are we going to do today, which will take us to that 5 years? So planning is so important. Life cannot be a pay-as-you-go kind of life that people would live. They need to understand that every single day, there must be one thing that they do in order to reach up to the 5 years that they want to of what they want to achieve there.
Like they say, a journey to 1,000 miles begins with one step. And, family is very important, to give that support. What sort of support should, family members, our parents and guardians should be giving learners?
It's very important for parents to understand and know their children. You cannot have a child that you do not really know what tickles them. And when you know that, one thing that you need to also do is support that which they are actually creating. Once you support that, you set up a system of support to a point where even if you have to rebuke, you must continue to do that in order to redirect them.
Wow. Final message, you know, to learners going back to school.
This is now taking me back to something that I like so much. I will actually take it from scripture. Isaiah 1 verse 19. This is the issue. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. So what is important is the willingness. They need to be willing to take up their books, study. They need to be willing to move every single day to go to school. They must be willing to do something in order for them to be able to do that. But at the same time, it's coupled with obedience. You've got parents, you've got teachers, you've got everybody else who loves you. So be obedient to what they're actually talking to you about, because that's exactly where life is.
Wow, powerful. Thank you so much, Coach, you know, for all the fruitful messages. We really hope that learners and all the kids out there, you know, are fueled to start this year on a positive note. Thank you so much.
On a positive note. Thank you so much.
Ake mbukeli wami ndiyathemba into yokubana nawe unomfutho apho ekhaya. Qiniseka ke ngoku sive izimvo zenu apho ku WhatsApp banina nithini.
Come 18 andisavuyi ndiya kwiclass entsha ndibone ootitshala nootitshalakazi abatsha. Ndi-excited ndizaya kwiclass entsha and ndinemikhaverisho seyikhona. Ndiwesi ndinomoya nje ophezulu. Iwesi ndizawuba ndineblazer ndifike ndimhle ndineat kwa-grade 6 and ndizaweka more hard ukuze ii-results zam ziphinde zibe ntle nakulo nyaka. I'm ready for school, ndiya class entsha.
Ndiready ukuya esikolweni futhi ndingxamile into zami seziright. Ndiyavuya sekuzovulwa izikolo. Yonke into yami iright ngoku. Ndingxamele ukuya esikolweni.
I'm excited to go back to school. In my new grade, I'm going to work very hard. Ace my subject, be kind to my classmates, listen to my teachers all the time.